As much as I think that I'm ready to get out these streets and find my husband, I think the biggest adjustment for me is going to be allowing a man to be a man in my life, because if I say I want something or if I say I need something done, I'm only going to give you one opportunity to get it done before I just do it myself.
I have to hear one thing she said in the beginning. Hold on.
As much as I think that I'm ready to get out these streets and find my husband, I think the biggest adjustment for me is going to be allowing a man to be a man in my life, because if I say I want something,
you're not ready. If you're not ready to allow a man to be a man in your life, then you're not ready. Avoid chicks like this at all costs.
Or if I say I need something done, I'm only going to give you one opportunity to get it done before I just do it myself. And I know that's like a bad thing, but like I need somebody to put some pep in their step behind me. Okay. If I need something done, especially if it's like something kind of urgent, I don't want you to be laxy-daisy about it. If you're going to do it, I need you to do it. If you're not going to do it, let me know so I can do it. Okay. I honestly don't know if that's a good or a bad way to look at it, but
it's a bad way to look at it. Gentlemen, please be careful. If you are a man who still values marriage in today's modern day and plan to get married, please be careful to avoid chicks with this mentality at all costs.
Don't offer to do something for me if you're not going to do it when I need you to do it. You know, you can't just offer to do something for me and then just do it whenever you feel like doing it. I don't know. Am I wrong for that? I know for a fact that I overthink every single thing. So sometimes my perspective on certain things in a relationship can come from a jaded place, and I'm trying to do better. So let me know. So let me know.
Yeah. You know, the mindset of thinking that you can really just turn it on, that, you know, when you decide, boom, okay, time to be a wife, there is a lot of work to be done, a lot of work to be done, a lot of work to be done. And there's a follow-up video here from another wife who I'm just going to let her brew. We're just going to let her brew and address this situation. Let's check it out. We'll let a wife speak, what they call a pick-me.
If you can't submit to your husband, ask yourself if you got married for a wedding and for an aesthetic and so that your shame could be removed and so that you don't look like nobody wants you, or if you actually wanted to be married to someone, if you actually wanted to become one with that man, if you actually wanted to come under his leadership and headship. This is like so profound, but we skip right over it. And I think one of the reasons that we have such combative natures in our marriage as women, and I'm saying we because I've been there, girl. We like to be argumentative. We don't want to be submitted. We don't want to be obedient. This man can't tell me nothing. But it's like, well, if you felt that way about him and if you had no intention of coming under his headship and being protected by him and being led and guided by him, not controlled necessarily, but there is an aspect of control that goes into it, because if a man cannot control his home, he cannot protect it. If he cannot control his woman, he cannot protect her. Going back to the example that I gave about if your husband told you to change your clothes, would you change? And I was like, you actually should. Because what we have to understand is, and there were some men that were like, oh, I want my woman to look sexy. That man does not love you if he wants you to go out exposed so that he can look good to other people. I'm going to say the thing that nobody wants to say. No God-fearing man who honors and respects his wife needs his wife to be going out half naked so that he can get approval from other people. What I'm not saying is if you walk out with your wife and people compliment you because your wife is beautiful and she puts herself together well, that's problematic, because it's not. And some of the women some of the wives, you're going to look beautiful no matter what you put on. You're going to be attractive no matter what you put on. No matter how much you try to hide your body is going to show in some regard. But what I'm saying is, as a woman, if you go out with everything on display and your husband is like, yeah, I don't know if that man loves you, but you can take that up with God in prayer.
So I'm gonna disagree with that. There are men who are married who may have a different degree of expectation of dress, right? Me and this other man may agree, like, you know what? I don't want my girl out there exposed so that other people can enjoy her body. I may say, I don't mind a little bit of cleavage. And he may say, I don't mind cleavage. And on top of that, I don't care if she goes out with, like, there's this thing in LA where chicks would just go out with like bras on, like literally. To me, that's insane. To me, I think that like defeats the purpose. He may say, well, actually, I don't mind the cleavage either. In fact, I don't mind the extreme showing of like cleavage. I think like at what degree depends on the man that you're with and what you guys value and what you're okay with. If you identify as a Christian, well, then that's going to change. If you identify as non-Christian, well, then you're obviously going to have different values than that. And I don't think that that husband necessarily doesn't love his wife because we disagree when it comes to that value. No, and I think Christians are really quick to jump to those type of perspectives and stances on things. And then he can change his mind later.
But my point is, are we to a point where we are only looking at marriage as a means to save ourselves from looking like nobody wants us, looking like we didn't get chosen? Because it's so much more than just a wedding. It's so much more than just a ceremony. It's so much more than just being like, oh, I got a man, somebody loves me. And unfortunately, what I notice is when we have these conversations and women, not just single women, but married women are combative against some of the things that I say, I question whether or not you trust your husband. I question whether or not you truly do love him. And I question what your actual intentions are in your marriage. If you feel that you don't have to be submitted, if you feel that there's not some element of compromise that comes with marriage, if you feel like to some degree your husband cannot direct and guide you, he can't tell you nothing. Girl.
The truth is, a lot of married chicks today run their households. You know, there's a growing amount of married chicks today who run their households. And you've got to ask yourself, is that contributing to the divorce rates? And you've got to ask yourself, what type of marriage do I want for myself? And that's definitely not the type of marriage I would encourage men to get into. Obviously, I believe men have a God-given role to take on the leadership within that household, right? What else do we have here? Let's see.